All right. Happy Halloween. Today's SPY was up 0.63%, and we did break that resistance right around 417, which means we should be coming up here to retest the breakdown, which is going to be between about 420 and 421. And if we continue higher, look for a test of that 200 daily moving average and the negatively sloping 20 daily moving average, which could take us into the middle of the 420s. So remember, we are viewing this as a clear downtrend because we are risk off below 420. So coming up to 420 will be an important test, because if we hit that resistance and continue the downtrend, that really shouldn't be surprising because that is the current situation we find ourselves in. Now, in order to get more bullish, instead of a rejection at 420 leading to the next leg lower, we will need to see some type of higher low into a higher high. And that is going to be the first sign that the bulls are starting to take back control. So this will take time and this will take patience. So there's no reason to assume it's going to happen. Wait for confirmation from the price. And that is why I tell you, let the price action do all the talking. That way you get out of the habit of guessing and trying to predict. You can simply trade the levels knowing the general direction of the trend. And then you can be a lot more confident that you're putting yourself in the position to make the most possible profit. Remember, this is a game of odds, not a game of whether or not you're going to be right or wrong. You can make predictions as long as they're not affecting the bias of your trade plan. So there's always going to be a bullish and a bearish scenario, and right now the bearish scenario is the most likely due to the downtrend. But just like any uptrend has pullbacks, every downtrend has counter trend rallies that could take us back up towards resistance, and that's currently the situation we find ourselves in. So look for that critical resistance in the 420s, and if we get rejected from that, we are going to need to see a higher low, higher high before we start to get bullish. On the Nasdaq 100 triple Qs, we were up 0.48% today, and the triple Qs are also bouncing, and the retest of the breakdown is going to be up here right around 354 to 355, and if we break through that, we're looking for a trip back up to about 360. Now, if we continue lower on a rejection, we need to break 347, break this previous low right around 343, and then we'll be looking for a test of the rising 200 daily moving average and that support zone between the gap fill at 333 and 338. So it is possible the Qs are trying to get into the 330s, but it's also possible we need to bounce a little bit higher before we go down to fill that gap. And of course, there's no guarantee that gap has to fill now. It can always fill at a later date. So be very patient. Understand these are downtrends, and the triple Qs is in a downtrend as long as it's making lower highs and lower lows below 355. In the Dow Jones, we were up 0.38%, and the Dow Jones is getting very close to resistance at 331. And if we get any rejection around resistance, we're looking for a higher low into a higher high to say that this downtrend is reversing. If we get rejected and make a lower low, we have the gap to fill just above 322. And if we continue lower, we have another gap way down there at 311. So yes, it is possible this downtrend is trying to go lower, but it's simply bouncing to a lower high before it goes any lower. So just keep all of that in mind and manage your trades around these critical levels. On the Russell 2000 IWM ETF, we were up 0.86% today, and the Russell is trying to reclaim that support at 164. And if it can stay above that support, it is possible that we start pushing towards 169 to 170. What happens from there is either going to be a higher low, higher high, or a rejection from a lower high to another lower low that could take us down towards 157. This is going to take plenty of patience to see how it unwinds. On the ARKK ETF, we were up 2.3% today as we are bouncing from this oversold condition, but we are still in a downtrend and we're staying bearish as long as we're below 38, even though it is possible in the short term we could bounce towards 36 to 37. Remember, lower highs and lower lows, that's the expectation until we break out of these downtrends, and it's still possible we're trending lower towards filling that gap below 32. On the VIX, we were down 8% today, and the VIX is starting to crush back down to 18, and I told you many times if this was just a correction within a bull market, we should see the VIX crushing back down below 18, and we're very close to seeing that. So do not rule out the possibility this is a correction that has reached a bottom and trying to reverse the downtrend, and we are getting confirmation from that with the VIX the longer it can stay below 20, and especially the longer it can stay below 18. On Bitcoin, we're currently up about 0.3%. We're still trading below this resistance, and this is either going to be a bull flag breakout to the next price target higher, or this could be a double top rejection from 35,000. Regardless, we're staying bullish above 32,000, and we do have a very strong bull trend developing, which could tell us we're entering a bull market in Bitcoin. On Tesla stock, we were up 1.76% today, and we did get the bounce off of that support at 197. And if you're staying bullish in Tesla, you need to be managing your risk right here, because if we break through here, we're going down to the 180s and then possibly even the 170s. If we bounce from 197, look for possible resistance right around 208 and that 200 daily moving average and resistance zone between 214 and 215. On Apple stock, we were up 0.2 0.28% today, and Apple is going to have earnings on Thursday, and we are currently bouncing back up to test the 200 daily moving average of resistance right around 171. And if we continue any higher, we're looking for the next resistance right around 174. If we can get a higher low, higher high breakout after earnings and break out of this downtrend, we can start to get bullish on Apple yet again. However, until that happens, this is still lower highs and lower lows, so we need to respect the current downtrend. So jumping back over to the S&P 500, this is a very important earnings season because we have the biggest stock reporting earnings, which is going to be Apple on Thursday. And if this was just a correction, which is coming to a conclusion, we should see it in the price action very soon, and we should get that higher low, higher high breakout and reversal. Have patience and discipline, and while you're waiting for confirmation, you can trade the range that we're currently in. And do keep in mind the current situation is a downtrend, so the bulls have all the proving to do, and they're the ones that need to prove this is no longer a downtrend by having price action form that higher low, higher high breakout. So understand the trend is your friend, and the path of least resistance is still lower prices. So even though we are bouncing, it's still possible it's just a lower high before we continue to make a lower low. So let the price action do all the talking, know both scenarios, and make sure your trade plan is prepared for whatever happens from here. If you want to come crush this market, consider joining the Stocks Channel Discord server or Bank Trade Alerts, and you can find out how to join either of those services by clicking on the links below. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you're crushing this market, and as always, I will see you in the next episode.